Did you know that a postgraduate degree, among other things, offers you the opportunity to have broad knowledge and skills? It enhances your critical thinking and problem-solving skills, and also projects you as a stronger job applicant. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Pamela Makati, and I will be your MC for today's event, which is called the Brown Bag Lunch. And this is an opportunity for you to reflect on the value of a postgraduate degree. I would like to especially extend acknowledgements in absentia to Prof. Collie Vitton, who is not here with us, and to the Director of the Center for Graduate Support, Professor Witness Mudzi, the Assistant Director of the Center for Graduate Support, Mrs. Danila Vessels, the Center for Graduate Support staff members for their endless and tireless effort in making this a very successful event. And last but not least, to our keynote speaker, Mr. Ndaba Nzeli. Colleagues, please make sure that you keep your masks on. There is a sanitizer available at the entrance of the venue. The toilets, the gents' toilets are to your left and the ladies' toilets are to the right. And we are aware that a lot of the postgraduate students are actually attending the event online. So it is not just those of you who are physically present, but we also have a lot more who are attending the event online. I'd like to call upon the CGS Director, Professor Witness Mudzi, to come over and introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Like Mr. Nzele today, who are the captains of industry, to come and talk to us about what it takes to be successful out there once you have your degree. What is it that you need to have for you to be able to successfully engage with the workplace environment and be successful? Because you might pass, you might get your degree with distinction, but does that mean to say that you are ready to go and make it out there as an individual? Not necessarily. It is with privilege, with honor, that I introduce to you our guest speaker today, Mr. Ndaba Nzeli, who is a national business icon, whose tentacles reach many parts of the world. He is currently the executive chairman and co-founder of the Pamozi Group of companies. It is interesting to know that in 2008, he was inducted into the EY Entrepreneur Hall of Fame in Monte Carlo as a world entrepreneur after winning the 2007 South African chapter of the awards. Mr. Nzeli has also served previously as a judge on the EY panel of judges for World Entrepreneur in Monte Carlo in Nigeria. And of course, it goes without saying that he has successfully led Pamozi's expansion from its humble beginnings as a profit development company, which was founded in Soweto in 1979, into the multi-billion rand African conglomerate that we know it as today. As head of Pamozi, he oversaw transactions that were in excess of 30 billion rands, and it cut across various industries ranging from sports apparel and footwear, consumer goods, financial services, resources, energy, and manufacturing engineering. So it's basically the crucial aspects of the economy that you can think of. And of course, in doing so, he managed to create significant value for the shareholders of the Pamozi Group of companies and of course the other various important stakeholders. He started working at a very young age in a family business when he was still at school. And being entrepreneur as he is, he cut his teeth in business through selling fruit. Can you imagine? Selling fruit? That's where he started. Clothing, and even newspapers. How many of you would even think of standing at a corner there and selling fruit or selling newspapers and still being able to make it in life? Ever venerable, he is recognized locally and internationally for his deal-making expertise, and he definitely does have the eye for talent and opportunities. The Pamozi Group was awarded the Nike's Nike Inc.'s first African license to market and distribute Nike products in Southern Africa, not South Africa, Southern Africa, and managed to grow the Nike brand from last on the sports apparel and footwear pecking order to number 1. That's no mean feat. He is the past president of the Black Business Council and past president of Education Africa, which is an NPO with a commendable record for assisting children from disadvantaged communities to obtain a quality, relevant education. He is a leader and a visionary of note, and consequently, he does serve on a number of boards. He is the chairman of the Otto Bavaria Midrand, and is a director of Anglo-American in Yosico, where Pamozi is also a shareholder as part of a consortium. He has served as a council member at the University of the Free State, as well as on the advisory board of the Wits Business School for Entrepreneurs, the International Trade Administration Commission, ITAC, and was co-chair of the BRICS Business Council. So we are talking about somebody who really knows what they are talking about here when it comes to business. He has also chaired the boards of the South African Agriculture Processors Association, Sodexo, Southern Africa, Foodcorp, West Bank Auto, Indo Risk, and Digico. Ms. Nzele, in his main accolades, is the Mover and Shaker of the Year in 2007, the Education Africa Alliance Award for Africa in 2013, an honorary fellowship award at Mangosuthu Technikon in 2015. He has also served as a visiting lecturer at Oxford University, here at our own University of the Free State, Wits Business School, at the Gibbs Business School, Duke University in New York, and Mangosuthu Technikon. You don't just get to be a visiting lecturer if you don't know what you're talking about. It's because these universities, these institutions, could see that he is a person who knows what they're talking about. He is as passionate about social philanthropy as he is about business. And as a result, he has assisted many students and communities fulfill their dreams. He has assisted men rise above their situation in life and bring about needed change for a better life and bright future. His contributions continue to this day. Even part of his visit here to talk to us, he found it. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Nzele to address us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prof. and Dr. Pamela Makati. Thanks a million times, or a billion times. I'm very, very happy to be here with you today. And as such, I must first thank the university for giving me the opportunity again to talk to you as students and also future billionaires in dollars. And these opportunities are very, very vital to uplift our own kind. As you know, my address is supposed to be about the postgraduate degrees, how important they are. They are very, very important, and I was asked to write about that. I don't cheat. I don't like to cheat. I did wrote a lot of pages here, but I can tell you I'm not going to read these pages because that's my style, but you're going to get it. So when I'm asked to write by process, I do write. But then to address people like yourself, I prefer to do it talking to you, because the rest of your life, you're going to be talking to other human beings verbally, whatever you are doing, being an educationist, a professor, a doctor, and all that. So it is very, very important and vital to talk to human beings, and also important to see them eyeball to eyeball. It also gives you some privilege of assessing the people that you are talking to. My address to the student today is about reflecting on the critical question about your future, especially whether it is necessary to consider embarking on postgraduate studies. A wise educator once threw down a gauntlet challenging her students to do more by saying, no matter how much you learn, you will always be nibbling at the fringes of knowledge. So there is never a limit to learning, because the more you learn, the more you realize how limited your knowledge is. So knowledge is so fertile. Once you've started, it's like another beautiful Nike slogan. As I brought Nike into Southern Africa, that slogan says, there's no finish line. So as long as you are alive, you must pursue certain things in learning, educating, and create wealth for yourself. I'm going to be talking about two critical things after your postgraduate degree. I'm going to be talking about wealth creation. It's very, very important to talk about that, because we tend not to talk about wealth creation, and we talk about jobs after graduation. I'm going to talk about wealth creation, and I'm going to talk about courage. Those are need. Wealth creation is so important that is the oxygen of this world. And before we get into the wealth creation, I was asked by the university to give them a quotation, my quotation. And my quotation to university, I said, in order to be super successful in life, you must de-racialize yourself. You don't need authority from the government. It's all in your mind. You de-racialize yourself. You look at yourself as a human being. You don't look at yourself with the labels that were imposed by the world, especially the European and the American, calling yourself a black person and calling other person a white person and calling other person a colored person. Once you are in that slot of racism, you are also limited in rising to the highest degree in terms of wealth creation and also in education, because you are in a box. And once you are in that box says we cannot have African professors. And you cannot have African professors in science and math and all the things that was created by the colonizers. So when you look at them as human beings, and also you look at yourself as a human being, that's a starting point. That you have to de-racialize yourself. Once you have de-racialized yourself, is where your success as an educated person, because postgraduate is very, very important. When you first get your degree, you are happy. What must you do after a degree? You must go out to the marketplace, find a job, or create a job. It is possible. And then after that, come back to a postgraduate. You must be students here. You got to. Because that gap of going out there, it actually gives you a better knowledge of what postgraduate degree are you going to take. And by the way, all degrees are very, very useful for wealth creation. Never forget that what we do after we're educated, we must create wealth. As I parked my car outside here, the two lady students who came to my car, they wanted to get inside because they said it's nice. They've never seen it. Yes, they are. And they said to me, what am I doing? I'm looking successful. They also say my tie is nice. What am I doing? It's two students. That's great. When I park the car, where I parked, and they're going to connect with me. So they said, I said to him, what do you think I'm doing? Am I a policeman? He said, no, you look a businessman. I said, fine. I said, this is what we like to be. There's two ladies. As I'm coming here, you'll get their names, Professor. But they said to me, they are studying a wrong degree. I said, there's no wrong degree. I said, what are you studying? They said, music. I said, gee whiz, that's the best that I would have studied myself. Because I told them that Sipho Hostik Mabuse is my homeboy. We grew up together, went to the same school. I went to business, he went to music, he became super rich. And he saw a lot of places even before me. He traveled. When he came and they called this group Harare, they went to Zimbabwe before we during apartheid, it was difficult to go to Zimbabwe next door. But Sipho was there, come back, called the group Harare because of having gone to Zimbabwe. He's my homeboy, grew up to it. He was rich. He was driving some fancy cars and all that. But he appreciated me too, as his homeboy, for having taken the direction that I took. But these two ladies, I talked to them about Sipho, and I talked to them about two ladies I met in America when I was there with Professor Janssen. I cannot quite remember what we were doing there with Professor Janssen, but that much I can tell you. It was televised. Oh, it was Education Africa issue. And then we met Aretha Franklin. They were super rich musicians. So these two ladies, after I've told them that there is not a single degree that is useless, and then immediately they jump to postgraduate. They are junior graduate. They don't have their first degree. Immediately they jump to postgraduate. And ironically, I'm here for postgraduate. And now you can see how important it is. They said, okay, give us an advice. Postgraduate, must we do an MBA after this? I said to them, you must go and write songs to churches and sell them. And then after that, see how the market is. And then we can decide whether your postgraduate degree, what is it? The professors are here for that, to channel them. In what commercial fair. Not necessarily that it must be MBA and all that. That's how you make decision after you have tested the market. So now, you can be wealthy once you've got these degrees and postgraduate. What you must understand, guys, is that you've got a document that should give you courage when your courage fails you. Because the biggest challenge in life about human beings, and all human beings, is courage. They get education, they pass, and then they don't have courage to move. Let me just give you a story about courage. Just before the new South Africa, I said to myself, there was sanction in South Africa. So I have to move with speed to get some of these companies that pulled out of South Africa, your Chrysler, Nike, Reebok, among others. So I said, I must write to those companies and I bring them and own them. So which I did. But then there were 270 South African companies that had written to them. That is, all the sports marketing company, Edgar's, all the banks, and some of the athletes were linked with these banks. When I wrote to them, they told me that there are too many companies that have applied. Am I in retail business at all? I said, no, I'm not, but I'm going to apply. So I'm going to sell your products. That's courage. I was not in retail. I was in construction and other things. This is retail. So I did apply. I had the courage to apply. Some of the people that I grew up with, when I told them, they discouraged me. I did apply in my application form because I believe business and education is best utilized when you are in a classroom, eyeball to eyeball. I know these days we're having, we've moved on, we've got online learning, whatever, but still the eyeball to eyeball factor, it does play a role. So I said to Nike, I'm gonna go to Nike. It's Portland, Oregon, it's far from here. Now I knew who my competitors are, all the banks, Edgar's, Total Sport, a whole lot of them. All of them that are trading in these things. But then, did I stop to pursue the dream? I didn't. Now, with my courage, I utilize now. This is what you must do, guys. Like the two ladies who were stopped there by my car, what they achieve is to have a direct link with me. And that link, I can link them with one of there's an African-American lady who was singing, Mary Ma was singing the first time Obama became a president. She's my contact. I've been with her. In fact, when we were with Professor Jansen, she was with us. So I'm gonna link them with that lady. She was a musician. She started in music. And then I talked to her when she met me in America about wealth creation, about business. She became a business person. Now, these ladies, by talking to me, I'm gonna link them with that person. They got excited, but they must pass first. That's very, very important. But then the courage of saying, hey, what are you doing with this courage, with this nice car? It was about a car. I wish I came with a Toyota. I'm not going to have this load now. Yeah. But courage, it was courage. And immediately I've linked them. So what I'm just saying to you, have a courage to get linked so that must go to the next level. Now, that is the most important thing when you are armed with education to conquer this life, is courage, and from courage, you create wealth. Now, my side, when I was competing with all these people in terms of the Nike, what did I do? I had courage. I wanted a letter from Mr. Mandela, President Mandela. I grew up in the same neighborhood, but it was going to be difficult for me to get to President Mandela. So what I did, I make my life easy. Because I said, you must de-racialize yourself. You must look at human beings as human beings. So I went to some of my friends, Yusuf Surti, who was dressing Mandela. I said, Yusuf, I want Mandela to write a letter to Nike. You dress Mandela. He's the one who dressed Mandela. So that's the quickest way. Now, this is relationship that you must have and have courage to go there. And Yusuf managed to get Mandela. He said, there's a nice suit made for you, Tata. Come and have a look. And I was there at the shop after hours. So we managed to squeeze him to write us a letter to Nike. And then the next thing, I managed to get Walter Sisulu. They were all from Robben Island to write a letter. I managed to get the present president, who was at Teflop with my wife, and he's my neighbor, Cyril Ramaphosa, to get another letter. So now, I was courageous. I've got these letters because I'm competing with the world acclaimed people with this Nike. Some of the people that applied were not South Africans, were from Britain and also America to come and distribute Nike here. So I got these letters now. On top of that, I said to myself, I have to get attorneys to write a letter for me. So I got attorneys in America, and those attorneys, they were able to talk to Nike. Now, coincidentally, I was the only one in the 270 that brought so many powerful people, plus using attorneys to liaise with Nike on my behalf. Nike liked that. They called me. I was the last application, but first to win Nike. So I had Nike Southern Africa, and I grew it from 0 in Southern Africa to #1. And I did what those days we were having the Springboks, which were one African player from Cape Town, and I sponsored the Springboks. See now, we took the brand that you are wearing, That's an Australian brand. So there's a lady who's wearing a Springbok jersey here. So that's, so I took out that brand, and then the Springbok had the swoosh. And we won the World Cup. The next thing was history. I had Nike Nigeria, I had Nike Mauritius, I had Nike all over, we're number one. But it is courage. Then I met top people in my life. When Tiger Woods came to South Africa to play golf at Sun City, I hosted him. And when you start getting into that league, you see how courageous people are. Tiger Woods was a youngster when I was coming there, but the confidence, the courage of winning and everything and learning was just too much with him. And I've met Michael Jordan. I've met this tennis player who's got courage, courage that he can make it. So, guys, I want you to have courage to create employment, to be employers. It's doable. You must network. And some of us are there, not only me, we've got a lot of us that have achieved the wealth creation part. Your Patrice Motsepe and other people, the foundation, once you have created wealth, the next thing you serve your people, and by doing a lot of things. I mean, I've built a stadium, which is named it after Christiani in Orange Farm, in a depressed area, because of having created wealth. So that is why I'm saying to you, you must start creating wealth on a serious note. Some of the things, they depress us in the business world, in the South Africans. When students ban libraries because of a 1,500 snippet, it does, I must tell you. Then that's not the right people that were grooming. Because that breach of a 1,000, which was not paid for a couple of days, you should be able to create yourself. I bought my first car when I was doing my matric, final matric. I was working, I was selling papers. So it is important, guys, to do something to create wealth. Not at time, we can start now. There's a guy called Jan Erasmus. He's got a company called Prestasi, which I bought it 100% because Prestasi was the only short-term insurance that had offices the whole South Africa. Doesn't matter, including Namibia, how small the town was. So I bought Jan Erasmus' company. But Jan Erasmus started Prestasi at Pretoria University. He was a student there. He was an engineering student. He never practiced engineering. He started Prestasi because he looked at the situation. At that time, the only insurance companies, short-term and otherwise, were English companies, Old Mutual, blah, blah, blah. And it was Afrikaans speaking. And he said, let me do this thing. And he mobilized with a number of Afrikaans speaking people that were growing leaps and bounds. And he created the biggest insurance company in the country. Then I bought it. And then when you buy it, somebody who got more money than you, buy it too. Patrice bought it from me. So I've got to work hard too, you see. I've got to go to the gym room. She's laughing. I have to. But that's the name of the game. But all of us, we do educate kids, have some social development with students like yourself. So I said I'm going to focus on wealth creation to you guys, and you must interact with us. I used to give coaching to all students that had written to me who wanted to be entrepreneurs every Saturday at my offices. Now, when I coached these students, I said to them, they must study, but then they must also create wealth. Now, I didn't know that 3 of these students were coming from Durban every Saturday. I don't know how much. I just bought them lunch, and they came. They came, and I coached them. What I said to them is something that I said to you earlier on today, is real. I said you must be multi-millionaires in all currencies. So those students, I told them, I said, when I was at high school, when I bought my car, when my teachers asked me, post-matric, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be a millionaire. And they didn't like it. And the worst one was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was a teacher. She had some idea that I'm dating the daughter, and my mother-in-law was an educationist. So she didn't like people who were talking about money. And she was a Christian, you know. There's this thing that the love of money is the root of evil, but the lack of money is the root of all evil in church. So my mother-in-law didn't like it. And then she would say to me, Debs, I don't like this thing of saying you want to be a millionaire, man. We're asking you want to be a doctor and lawyer. I said, Mama, I can have some of those, but I want to be a millionaire. That's one thing that I'll tell you. She was cross with me, I must be honest. And I married her daughter. Those days, when we grew up in the olden days, there's that thing that if you want to see how your wife is aging, look at your mother-in-law. So I teach her was aging well. That's why I married the daughter. So, but then, after all is said and done, I started creating wealth. I work hard. I studied. I went to the classroom. I've got diplomas. I don't have a degree, but I did some diplomas, and I did some postgraduate diplomas that were fitting into my character. You can't do these things you cannot be a millionaire without knowledge. It's very, very important, especially the postgraduate degree. That knowledge, you actually need it. You need knowledge. You need networking with people. You need not to be scared of whom are you networking. If you want to network with me, you must find out who is my friend that maybe knows you, whatever case may be. But I did this. And my mother-in-law had two son-in-laws. One was older than me, and then, but then I became the most successful one. And then she would say, my favorite son-in-law. And Maniki, the older one, says, listen to mommy, cannot even hide in front of me. He said, I'm the favorite son-in-law. But it's because I created wealth. So this is what I would like to impose upon you. I said I'm going to talk about wealth creation because after graduation, guys, it's very, very important. Including running universities, you need to have that mindset of sustainable university. What does it need? It needs marbles. It needs a lot of money. At times I call money marbles. In order to play the game, you must have marbles. So you come with commercial ideology of even doing some business. I mean, this university, I've been a counselor in this university. There's a lot of unlocked value in this university. I know, I was a counselor for 8 years. There are a lot of things that were structured, discovered by the science divisions here. They're sitting in a lab. Seriously, I've been here for 8 years. And I did talk, and this is what I expect from you guys. I did talk to the powers that be. Can't we commercialize this? But those inventors, those scientists, were holding on with what they invented. They saw a lot of money in what they invented, especially the agriculture sector. So they didn't want to part with that intelligence because they counted the goals before they were scored. Having an invention is a nice thing, but relationship, networking is very, very important. Now, if they find, and I must say, I'm grateful to you, professor and doctor, to let me address them, because that is what I do for daily living, creating wealth. Now, as people, we also got to respect each other's profession, and then we work with everybody that can assist us to go to the next level. Don't do a discovery. I had a guy in my office, an engineer, a scientist, that came with a wonderful solution for the trains, cannot remember what is it. He wanted money to carry on with his invention. And I said, fine, I'm going to release X amount of money. He said, yeah, but I want shares in this thing because I ran the numbers for him to show him that this is going to be a multi-billion rand deal. We said, no, I'll pay back your money after I'm making money. Now, these are the things that put us down. These are the things that I'm trying to unlock your minds, that with whatever discoveries that you do after a postgraduate degree and you go further, also have the mind of interacting with other people so that you must go to the highest degree and create the wealth. I'd like us to develop this country. I'd like us, and it's possible, guys, I'd like us to stop mourning about being underprivileged. All the historical baggage, guys, I'd like us to move on. I got successful during apartheid. I said to you I wanted to be a millionaire, and I became one during apartheid. And can imagine the situation there in terms of the laws. They were tight. You couldn't do anything. They were tight for commercial purposes. But I became one, myself and some of the friends. But then I moved on. I educated myself further, and then I moved on, and then I said, I want to be multimillionaire in all currencies. And I did that. And the nice thing, there's some people that come from this university that I employed, and they're also serving in the university. When I employed them, they're highly qualified. One was a chartered accountant, and I told him that I'm going to make him a millionaire. I did make him a multimillionaire, and he's still serving in the university here. That is networking at its best. There are two students from this university that are working for Phamotse. One is Ayavuya Matolo. He's from here in Free State. In fact, both of them are here. And the other one is Donovan Peterson. I said to them, what message should I give your fellow students who come from there? Donovan said to me, the university created diamonds in us. So with that word, I would say the university is good. If your university are creating diamonds, I'm very, very happy. Professor and doctor, it means you are doing something. He said, you created diamonds. And then he said, Phamotse polished the diamond. So, because he's doing super big deals, guys. I'm not lying to you. He should be 27 years old. You'll see him very soon in the media with the big deals that he has closed. So he said we polish. So we appreciate to get postgraduate intake, convert them into entrepreneurs, or they convert themselves into entrepreneurs. And anything that is negative, you push aside. In this paper, I wrote about the 2030 plan. It's not RDP, I forgot, but it was a plan of creating more people who are going to be sustainable, are going to be employed. Now, it's a dynamic thing that the government created, but the government is not moving forward. Now, I want to say to you, you have to do things without blaming the government and talking to the government. You have to come together and look at that paper and unlock the value there. As I said, even here in Free State University, in your laboratory and your science division, there are certain things that are here that can be unlocked, and then we sell it to South Africa and the world. Let me tell you another story. It's about meat pies. You have to, whilst you are studying postgraduate, you've got to interact with other people internationally, be students, whatever case may be. Because the world is open now. I was looking for money, and I was looking for 1 billion rands. Now, you must all know that the banks are selling money, but the banks don't want to give money anyhow. But if you come with super plan, the banks relieve money. I wanted 1 billion rands to buy a company called Pieman. And I went to South African Bank. All of them, they discouraged me. They didn't give me money. And Nike told me that if you don't get it in your country, the world is open now. And I went to England. And I find some young graduates, young, I repeat, between 30 and 25, who were in the commercial sector, who were structuring new financial instruments. That's what you should do as postgraduate. After you studied, you have to extend your mind and change things, come with new structures, and challenge the market with those structures. These boys, within 3 days, I was in England, they created what is called now a Eurobond. So the first Eurobond was brought by us, Phamotse, in South Africa, to buy Pieman. Now, the secret, those guys, because they're educated, they look at the stats in England, and they do some research, because we have to do research. That's why you are studying. They did some research, and they found out that a whole lot of pensioners in England are sitting with a lot of money, and they're getting 2% interest. In fact, it was 1% interest at that time. So they went to all these, they wrote to these grannies and all, they said, can we put together a Euro bond, a bond to borrow Ndaba Ntsele to go and buy Pieman? It's a big company in South Africa. And then those pies were going to export to England, because in England, they like pies because of their lifestyle. You are going to get 6% out of your money in a period of time. Now, that is critical thinking. Postgraduate is what we expect from them. That critical thinking. So a Eurobond was formed. Before I left England, I had 1 billion rands. I bought Pieman, 100%, and we made pies here in a small, in Mpumalanga. Our main factory was there. We took those pies every day, flew them with SAA to London, and then we opened kiosks in London. When you come, you microwave the pie. But our marketing strategy, we're saying freshly baked pie. So this guy was selling the pie, who's an entrepreneur who bought a kiosk. He said, I woke up at 3 a.m. to bake these pies. And we're there to look at the research. When people were eating these pies in the station, they said, it is really fresh. It was coming here from Nelspruit. We flew it to London. And then we were bought by London Pie. London Pie started from South Africa. So what I'm saying, I'm giving you a glimpse of being postgraduate. That's a given. The fact that you've got a junior degree, now you're postgraduate, you are going to pass it. But after passing it, your thinking, you have to have courage to do different things. Lastly, I wanted getting involved in mines. I discovered that the mining game is a lot of money. Now, some of you will know the famous song of Liverpool Football Club that says, you'll never walk alone. But at times, we have to walk alone to achieve a goal. So you must make your decisions yourself and influence others. There can be 15, but once you think your decision works, you have to walk alone in some cases. So when I got involved in mining, I say, this thing needs a lot of money, mining. Then I went to my board and my colleagues. I said, guys, I want to go to America and raise $1 billion. The rand at that time maybe was 10 to 1. So that was 10 billion rands. without security, with my business plan. So postgraduate, you are trained to think further than your first your first degree. You think out of this world. That's what we expect from you. So I went to my team. I said to my team, I want to raise $1 billion. They said to me, I've taken something or smoked something that is green, very strong, coming from Durban. I don't know what was that. They told me, frankly, they said, because I raised 1.8 billion rands to buy a company called Foodcorp, 100% buyout. And by the way, the good story about that deal, I empowered everybody, including the tea lady. And our tea lady was driving a 320 BMW. Our tea lady is true. Can phone So because I created shareholding for our tea lady. And I'm pumping you with a business, because after this, I'd like you to be business people. Whether you get employment, where you are employed, you ask your boss that I'm going to add value, give me a shareholding. These are things that don't discuss. Ivash was excellent. When I have international people coming to South Africa on a holiday, Sunday, Ms. Nsele, I'll come and make tea for you. So she left Orlando, she came here. So the benefit, I made a shareholder. She had shares there, she got dividend, and she bought 320. She retired nicely. She's comfortable. She said to me, hey, Ms. Nsele, you know, when you've got money, it seems as if your cousins and your relationship, they become too sweet to you. How do you hide it? I said, you got to develop the skill. But this is what I did. Now, the $1 billion, my team said, no ways, because I'm in a corporation. They said, I'm not going to, the company must not pay for my flight to America. I said, fine. All of them, the whole board was against me. I said, fine, I'm going to pay my money. And one guy told me a long time ago in Swaziland, he said, when I'm flying overseas, I must fly first class or business class because I'm going to meet the billionaires, the millionaires there and network with them. Yes, I did meet Mrs. Oppenheimer when we were going to get Nike in that first class, and a few of us there. And the first fact that I was suntan, the attention was all over me. What brings me here? Because some Europeans think that's their territory. So I fly first class. So I bought myself a ticket. I went to America, and I talked to the funders. I met one funder, Hans Mende, and then I told Hans that South Africa is rich. We all know South Africa is rich, and it's for you guys to unlock that richness. We still got the minerals. They're not going to go away. So the thinking has to be different. And I told Hans that, Hans, I want to buy mines in South Africa, but I need funding, and I would need you to be part of this thing. I convinced Hans. Now, to my surprise, Hans didn't take him a long time to say, okay, now I will give you, and I told him I'm still going to other funders. He said, no, don't go to other funders. I'll give you $1 billion. He agreed. And I said to him, fine, there's an opportunity and there are timelines in this thing. He said, okay, I'll beat the timelines. I'll be coming to South Africa to give you the guarantee of the money before your timelines to buy these mines, which then immediately he said, I must get lawyers. So I called a law firm, Cliff Decker, and you should know it as a South African lawyer. I called Willem. Willem, I'll buy you a ticket, fly to New York. So Willem was so happy. Willem told my board members and my fellow directors, CFO, and all that. Professor, they all flew. They followed me. I've got minutes to that effect. When I write my book, I'm about to write a book, you'll read about it. They use the company money. They said I must not use it. They use it. They followed me. And there are papers you can see when we launched that money. I was in all the financial mail, even Afrikaans newspapers here in Free State and Pretoria. Headline news, me. I'm not good in Afrikaans, but I saw my name. That I'm doing something good. Now, Hans came here. I didn't check my time when I started. You know, when I talk of business and my name is Ndaba, it means news, I can go on forever. You've got to stop me. You've got to stop me. Yeah, that $1.3 billion. No, I said 1 billion, and this guy said only. I said, no, we'll talk when you're in South Africa. When he came here, Hans, he said to me, what's the number? I said to Hans, you know, Hans, funny, it was on the 13th on the Friday when he came. I said to Hans, you know, 13th on the Friday is a Malakite. Somebody was Mr. Jacobs who told me that, Ndaba, on Friday the 13th, you seem to be doing something. He made me aware of that. And he made me aware about Friday the 13th from the European perspective. Some of them don't have lifts, 13 and all that. I was not aware of the lag part. So Jacobs told me. So then certain things happened. So when Hans came to South Africa, I said to Hans, it's Friday the 13th. I hope you don't believe in the unlucky day because it's my lucky day. So the amount of money that I want you to you give me to go to mining is $1.3 billion. I increase it with $300 million US. Not knowing that Hans was born on the 13th on a Friday. He said, that's my birthday. Today is my birthday. You've got it. So, guys, I got, in today's standard, that's about 17 billion rands. I got it. I got it. And when you get it, must use it. Must use it. So, being postgraduate, you have to be decision makers. You must make precision decisions, like people who play sport, basketball. Take seconds to make decisions, what I'm doing. Decision making is very, very important. And that importance of decision making is informed by good education. Good education, courage. Courage, you've got it. You've got a certificate. You can be proud. You've got a certificate. You know, Tammy Mazwai, he created certificates for taxi guys in Soweto. When those taxi guys got the certificate from a university, a UJ, they were so courageous. They even bought more taxis. So courage is the most important thing that, guys, you don't buy it, is within us. It's just like saying, de-racialize yourself and look at human beings as human beings. Because if you don't, the other terms, they are making you a secondary human beings, and others, they're making them as superior human beings. You kill that. You kill that. So I got the $1.3 billion. Now the good news, I used immediately, when it landed, I used 800 million rands to buy rand uranium, which is a gold play. And after buying that, somebody again came and bought us out. That is Sibanye Gold. Sibanye Gold started from my business. Today, Neil Froman, I don't know, must go and check his market cap, but he started from my business. So he came, he offered a fortune. So I was outvoted by the board because, you know, we've got corporate governance. I wanted to keep that, but the board said, no, we cannot. This guy is overpaying. I said, there's nothing overpaying. He saw something that you don't see. And then he bought it. And today, you all know, I think they are in Canada, in America. I think it's the biggest mining company in South Africa today. I haven't checked the market cap of that thing. But all what I'm saying, guys, I'm saying it can be done. It's possible. It can be done. And those that also like to communicate with me further, they can do so via who've got something big that they want to do via my company. I want dreamers, but I want all of us to grow. And I think that must not forget, you must hunt in packs, like elephants, like lions. You must hunt in packs, you must come together, not I, me, myself. You'll be proud to know that at one time, during our peak, we had employed 27,000 people. In Chile, I had fishing boats. Australia, I had something. England, Glenrick can fish. We had 70% market share in England. We had businesses the whole world as Phamuzi Group. And there is not rocket science to manage that. You need that postgraduate degree to do that. Once you're there, you have arrived. Before I close, I'd like to close in the very same paper that I prepared for you, another quotation. The first quotation was mine. This one is by James Ullman. He says, I quote, "Challenge is the core and mainspring of human action. If there is an ocean, we cross it. If there is a disease, we cure it. If there is a wrong, we right it. If there is a record, we break it. And if there is a mountain, we climb it." I wish you well as you go out into the world to be catalysts for progress and development, and trust the gods to keep you for many years to come. I do thank you.
What a very reflective and insightful talk on the value of the postgraduate degree in the business world. So your skills, knowledge, and expertise will enable you to be innovative, solve problems, and also make decisions. But as Mr. Nsele said, with courage and through networking, you can create wealth. Mr. Nsele, thank you for the reflective, insightful, and also very encouraging and motivational talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to open the floor for questions for Mr. Nsele.
Good afternoon, sir. I've noticed it's very hard for an international student to get employment after university due to employment equity or some laws, something regarding that. So I was wondering, what advice would you give to an international student when they want to get employment in South Africa?
Okay, let me understand what you mean by international students, because we're all local here. I want to get the context, then I'll answer you.
Sir, I'm from Zimbabwe.
Oh, you are not international, you are an African man. You are a local. You know, you see, I told you about being colonized, and I say, de-rationalize yourself. Look, okay, the surname would be familiar with you as Limugane Siziba. Is it familiar with you? Zimbabwean. Is a Zimbabwean citizen. I said this effect. I'm busy working with Zimbabweans to create businesses in Zimbabwe at this point in time in the retail sector. But just I wanted to come, you said getting employment. My talk here, I was saying, you get it or you employ yourself. You don't have to have experience. You got to have network of doing that. You talk to Ms. Nsele, you say, I've got a big plan. Like you saying, you're from Zimbabwe. I'm busy working with to solve. It's an advantage. Everything's an advantage. Zimbabweans that traveling and to buy food and all that. I'm a food processor. I'm food business. So I said to them, you don't have to drive here. You distribute in Zimbabwe. Let's create a big corporation in Zimbabwe. And that's it. So we are going to have entrepreneurs who are going to create employment there. So you, because you are educated, I'm leaning too much on you having the network to create employment. And whilst you are creating employment, you are employing yourself. Because I'm employed by Phamotse. I'm an employer, but I'm also employed. So there's nothing difficult, you must understand, in this world. I mean, if people sorted a whole lot of things, scientists and all that, and invention, one thing that must not look at issues that from the difficult position. You must look at it from challenging. My mindset must be, it is challenging, but it's doable. My last quote talk about climbing a mountain, breaking records, breaking your own records. Today you got 80%. They said next time I want 85. It's doable. So there's nothing seriously. Our laws are excellent. Nike. I produced Nike locally in Zimbabwe. There was Bata shoes there. They were excellent. So I managed to give a lifeline with Bata shoes. The only thing that I couldn't manage is when you ran out of petrol. So I had to move that factory elsewhere. So look at yourself as a son of the universe. Nothing impossible. And you are African, you are here. You can get jobs. In life, you get what you negotiate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much. My name is Moshe Moses Makwa. I'm a second-year PhD student here. I've got a comment with regarding the speech that you have given us and your ideas, and thank you for that. What I've noticed is that there is a paradigm shift in our country in terms of how we want to be active in the economy. And the only alternative is what you have alluded to, that we must become entrepreneurs. We must have new innovative ways. And I'm going to make a typical example to say that there's some committee that I'm sitting at Central University of Technology. It's alarming to see how many PhD graduates we have in the country and master's graduates who are unemployed and who are really looking for opportunities to get opportunities in universities or companies or so forth. And what I like here, your emphasis was that we must become employers, because really there is a paradigm shift. The expectation in South Africa now to say that if you've got a master's degree and a PhD, you will be employed by a certain company or university, it's very much unlikely, because we are moving to what is happening in America right now. You've got lots of people who have PhDs in sociology, history, and so forth, but they are dependent on the social grant that is offered by the American government. So really, I just wanted to comment to say that the emphasis that we should really adapt to the paradigm shift and move into becoming employers and becoming entrepreneurs, starting our own businesses, is the best alternative that will save our economy. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment. And something just to make a remark. My in-laws are educationists. My father-in-law was a doctor. My mother-in-law was a lot of degrees. And my family come from a business, from my grandpa. But then people get stuck with education. My brother-in-law is a social worker. He's got honors in that thing. Now, they dismiss him because of they didn't get a grant in somewhere from America in his job. But when they dismiss him, the government needed so many social workers. When I said to him, hey, Chief, can I sponsor you to start your business? He said, no, I've got to be employed because if it fails, then what? Now, the mindset. My own brother, after qualifying with a degree, I said to him, can I sponsor you with R1 million to go and open your Kentucky, whatever? Don't go and work for anybody. He said, hey, I've got 5 job offers. He said, hey, you don't understand, man. Hey, my degree is so good, man. You even went to my mom and my dad. He said, hey, listen to this chap. Maybe it doesn't have a degree, is this problem. and long story short, he was taken by, yes, he was in demand, Standard Bank, Absa, blah, blah, blah. One of them took him, he rose there. He thought he was going to be a Sim Shabalala. The banks collapsed, he was retrenched. When he was retrenched, there was social pressure. Your brother is so successful, why are you not working? So then my mom, who used to say to me, hey, not all of us going to be busy, leave him to do what he wants to do. My mom comes to me, and no can't argue with mothers. I'm not ashamed that your brother is not working, and you've got so many businesses. So then I said to him, okay, let me check what package you get. You still have some money, put X amount of money, and then I made him a shareholder at Otto Pavara Midrand, which is the biggest BMW from Cape to Cairo in terms of sale. He's a shareholder now, and is also working there. After a couple of years, he says, as my brother, you don't have a strong character. You should have forced me day one to win business. It's a nice one. I said, I don't have a strong character. Thank you.
Good day, everyone, and Mr. Nzele. I don't have much to say or ask, but just from listening to you, I already feel like I'm rich. I don't know if anyone also feels that way. I just wanted to ask, you said to us in the beginning that we are future billionaire in dollars.
Yes.
Are you a billionaire in dollars?
You know what? I'm wealthy, but they've got taxmen. I can't disclose. But what I want to achieve, I have achieved. The fact that I build stadium, I build schools. There's a school in Orange Farm. I mean, it was with Education Africa, it was 42 million rand. It's the first world school. We linked it with. So I've got reasonable marvels that I won't die and be poor yesterday. But then I want you to go further than what I've achieved. In all currencies, not in rands. In pounds, I said, I want you will be future billionaires. In rands, like Patrice. Patrice has achieved that. That's the only African that has achieved that in this country. And there are a couple of people that have achieved, Christo Viso. But it's doable. You are young, you've got an advantage. And I can see the way you stylish, you're going to make it. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for your talk. Your success is very inspiring, and you're handling billions of dollars, and I'm sure you're in great company like Patrice, and even the mega rich people that we're seeing in this day and age, the Jeff Bezoses and etc. But I actually want to ask, there's a question that's been floating around in just as we're discussing as young people. Should we really be aspiring to be billionaires? Are billionaires actually necessary in our society? And this comes from that argument between capitalism and socialism and how capitalism might be ruining the world. And maybe as we're being educated, we should be moving more towards socialism where even if you're not a billionaire, just you are able to access things like healthcare, like education, etc. So should we really be aspiring to be billionaires, or to just have a society in which we can give back and it's balanced, not to take away from anyone's success? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I said to you, when I was a student, I wanted to be a millionaire because I wanted independence. And I wanted education and independence and make decisions to uplift my people. That social aspect. I've said I've built schools, not one, as high schools, as a social upliftment. I didn't have to get permission from the government. I want to bypass the system of being governed by the powers that be. Because when I was young, we're debating, I mean, where the politics were even higher, where I schooled in Soweto, Orlando High, where most of these defense heads, they come from that school. Your Kgalema come from the... We used to debate between communism and capitalism. Now, and Kgalema was my senior, also was the President Kgalema, and also our school captain. He was a communist. He was talking your language. And that language, I didn't like it. It was Russian language, that people can be, all people must be the same, but there must be a boss. And the one that controls you, actually, when we debated, because we grew up in a highly politicized society. Now, I'm trying to move you from politicized to commercial. That's what I'm trying to do. And those debates were there that time. And you say to me as youth, you're debating that again. It's quite of interest to me because our research, even those days, was difficult to research. But we saw that all the presidents of communist countries, their wives were having expensive rings, diamond rings. The wealth was here next door in Mozambique, in Maputo, which I experienced. I had businesses in here in Mozambique. In fact, I had businesses the whole continent, to tell you the truth. I mean, I've been exporting Nigeria. We put up factories there with MTN, Pay As You Go, and all that. And the capitalist communism thing came in. But my frank discussion with you is that it's nice to think that everybody will be equal and those that are ruling you are going to be even-handed to everybody. It doesn't work like that. Even today, the politicians that are voted for, they still got power. But the politicians, because I have created power, I talk to them eyeball to eyeball, and I tell them where I think they're wrong, because they're not going to make me broke. I actually, I spoke to one politician. That's why I'm saying creating wealth is so important. I wanted a license for my mining rights. She didn't give me the license. It went on and on and on. So I called the PA. I said, tell your boss I don't beg her. Tell her that. I say I don't beg her for that license. This lady says, what are you saying? You say you don't beg the minister? I said, yes. Why I did that, I wanted to have a direct conversation with the minister and also tell her that I don't beg her. And in a communist social state, you don't have those privileges. When you say that to a minister, it's straight to jail. I think you know about that. So, but then in a democratic South Africa, she told the minister, and the minister was so cross that there's a person who says it doesn't beg this her. And this lady said to me, the minister is not in the country, but all of a sudden the minister is around. I must go to Pretoria. And I talked to her. I said, you are supposed to come to me because you are using government petrol, but I'll come to you. So I went to the minister. The minister wanted to know that, seriously, I do not beg her, eyeball to eyeball, which I did tell her. She says, why wouldn't I not beg the minister? I said, because whilst I'm sitting with you, my till is ringing. Somebody is buying yum yum peanut butter. Somebody is buying Nola mayonnaise. I said, my till is ringing. Now, that's a nice position to be as an individual, not with a collective. I said, Liverpool song is nice. You use it. Walk alone. And I said here, you must hunt in a pack. But I also said, at times, you must walk alone. So my position, when I told the minister that, the minister couldn't believe. She didn't know me. I also didn't know her, by the way. But then she said, no, she wants to call somebody to greet. Then she called the person that you know, Tali Mpofu. She said, Tali, she was related to Tali. Tali, Advocate Tali. Hey, Tali, I've got Ndavantsele here. Tali, she put Tali on the speaker call. Tali said, hey, you're supposed to be rich with that man. He said, oh, Tali, don't disturb me. It's what Tali said. This is a true story I'm telling you. But if I didn't have the marbles, the muscle power, I was down there with the marbles. That socialist aspect, and as I said to you, President Khalima is my friend. I go to his house. He's still a communist. You can see his beard is from, what's this, Cuba. Yeah, he's my friend. And then we debate about it. I said, but Chief, we were capitalist, you're communist, but where you are living is exactly, seriously, it's superb. I mean, the home, everything is spot on. That is what was happening in Russia when they were pushing us to be communists. In China, and by the way, just for your own information, you guys, when you want relationships, and I said you can start business whilst you are at school, you must look to the Far East. I'm dealing with the Far East right now. China is super rich. There's no, I've never seen these Bentley, Rolls-Royce cars like in China and Russia. And then we're sitting here, we said, Makomanis, Makomanis. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Zele. My name is Batabile Makatini. I'm currently doing my master's in chemistry. So I hear your point with regards to entrepreneurship. So last year, I started a business back home in KZN. It's a poultry farming business. But with the distance between Free State and KZN, it's not easily manageable as I am here. So I've been having difficulties growing my business and doing things like that. And as someone who has been a science student for the longest time, there are things I don't know that I would like to learn with regards to business because ever since starting the business, I've learned things through like my experiences, and I would like to know other things that I could like. What's this word in English?
Okay, let me answer you quickly.
Yeah.
You network. I've got a lot of scientists in my organization at headquarters, chemical scientists, this guy is a nuclear physicist and all that. For you to start a business remotely, they're going to steal your money and they're not going to run the business correctly. That is real. You need IT systems. We talked about it before we started here. The big plan is to have a and this university, again, in terms of the IT specialists, you've got plenty of these people here. That is key today. When I said to the minister, my till is ringing, I could press my cell and show her how much I'm making in some of my businesses today. So once you start business, what you should guard is performance, and also your revenue. Because if you're not there, they take it. But the great thing that you can do is to design an IT instrument that will like you to be there. I was talking before everybody came here. I was talking to one of my IT specialists about the price increase and the see-through. Our IT specialists, we've got, we're opening shortly another huge supermarket. We are going to be a competitor to supermarkets right now. But we're managing that business with IT. And the way the world is sophisticated is also on my cell phone these days. I sleep with my money. I know how much. Seriously, I know how much they've made. I see it. So you need IT. And then you can manage whilst you are here. That's the only thing that will help you. And we are in the right place at the university. Design the IT with them. Because the IT designers, they've got to listen to you. And they come with solutions. Thank you. And besides IT, you also need partnering with somebody who is there. But that person must also put some money into it. And then lastly, this is food for thought for all of us here. When you started here, you said to us, your home is in KZN. Now, your home is anywhere in Africa. You should have started the business here next to you, right here. If you could afford to start a business whilst you are a student, yeah, in Bloemfontein, it's still your home. I was asked by World Bank to go and talk at the United Nations in Kenya about uplifting business people. So as I arrived in Kenya, they wanted bribe, said my vaccination is not correct and all those things. So I said to this chap, hey, you're either going to go to jail or me go to jail. Now, this chap says, you South African, you just smell freedom. It was just before the issue. You just smell freedom. You think you are bosses. And I said, I'm not South African. I'm an African. This country belongs to me too. That's what I did. You know, this thing of saying your home is there. We're not there when they divided the borders. So this guy from Zimbabwe, he might be on the other side of the border. But you exercise your right as a human being. I said, as an individual, at times you've got to push. Like I push in Kenya. They call everybody. I told them I'm a South African. I said, I'm an African, and that's it, and blah, blah. I can talk until it's blue. This chap. He said, you are South African, I'm Kenyan. I said to him, if I'm in Heathrow Airport and ask who's Kenyan, who's South African between us, do you think they're going to guess right? Because we look alike and all those things. But as individual, you also got to push back some of the myths that you have. I'm from KZN, I must start a business KZN. Okay, start it here and expand to KZN, where you are in control with your situation. Get a partner or transfer your business to where you are close to your business. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my sincere apologies. Will not be able to take any further questions at this point. However, you can engage with Mr. Ntsele after the event. Thank you, Mr. Ntsele, for engagement with the students. I would like to call upon the CGS Assistant Director, Mrs. Danila Wessels, to give the vote of thanks.
As I listened to your keynote address, Mr. Ntsele, I cannot otherwise than state that you are for sure a leader and a visionary of note. Thank you, Mr. Ntsele, for the passionate manner by means of which you discussed the intersection of being a graduate or postgraduate and being successful in the business world. I'm sure that what you stated today will help all of us to rise above our station and in life and bring about change. Thank you for traveling to the Free State accompanied by your wife and child and coming to our province. Thank you to you as the audience in the Equitas Hall and those that are following the event on the live stream today. The Center for Graduate Support really appreciate your involvement and engagement here. Thank you also to the director of the center, Professor Mutsi, for leading our center as well as the staff that assisted today. Thank you to Dr. Makati, the MC, for the fluent handling of the program. And the center now invite you and welcome for you to take a brown bag lunchbox outside the hall, and we herewith conclude the brown bag lunch event for today. Thank you.